Friends, it's me Meerab, and buckle up, because the Brown family mask is slipping, and this time, it's Robyn caught in the headlights. On TV, we hear about sisterhood, love, and peace. But behind the cameras, court documents and Janelle's latest explosive interview reveal a very different story. Robyn, always the tearful peacemaker, insists she just wants harmony. Yet insiders allege she's been quietly manipulating everything, from family finances to group chats, and now Janelle is calling her out, labeling her a narcissist just like Kody. The receipts? They are wild. Could Robyn finally be unmasked as the real puppet master? Or is this just another chapter in the endless Brown family saga? Let's rewind to what viewers have seen. Robyn Brown, TLC's peacemaker, often cries on camera, voice trembling. "I just want the family to get along. I want everyone to feel loved." Reunion episodes paint her as sweet, misunderstood, and always in the background. But the off-camera reality appears far messier. According to property records and leaked court filings, a very different Robyn emerges. Janelle's latest interview is more than a clapback, it's a total reset of the Brown family power map. Allegedly, Robyn has been orchestrating key family decisions, quietly ensuring that Kody's speeches about fairness always favor her and her children. Remember last season, when Kody insisted nothing was about favorites, yet every family move revolved around Robyn? Janelle claims these power plays have cost the family both financially and emotionally. And she has the legal filings to prove it. The allegations are serious. Sources say Robyn influenced Kody to rewrite family agreements, move assets, and isolate the other wives, all under the guise of family unity. On TV, Kody holds Robyn's hand, reassuring everyone, "We're all in this together." Meanwhile, property records suggest the real unity might be Robyn and Kody quietly consolidating control. Is it just smart lawyering, or a calculated takeover? Janelle didn't reach her breaking point overnight. She reportedly tried open meetings, financial transparency, and even mediation without lawyers. Yet Robyn allegedly refused to disclose certain bank statements and deferred all big decisions until Kody was present, keeping the other wives in the dark. Insiders say Mary initially sided with Robyn, but as finances grew murky, she backed off. Production leaks claim Mary vented about being excluded from the real decisions while Robyn stayed close enough to control the narrative, but never accountable. Court filings suggest Robyn may be the mastermind behind every major move since the Las Vegas relocation. Kody tells viewers it's about fairness, but deeds, loans, and mortgages repeatedly list Kody and Robyn together, leaving Janelle, Christine, and Mary with verbal promises instead of actual assets. Fans argue Kody might be blinded by love or actively using Robyn as a shield, but the result is the same. Robyn's side gets control, and the others are left with stress and uncertainty. Financially, the joint business account is another mess. Reports claim upwards of $100,000 in unaccounted expenditures occurred when only Robyn and Kody had access. Going back to 2018, when Christine pushed to sell Coyote Pass, Robyn allegedly blocked it, claiming her children needed stability. Fast forward to 2021, Robyn's trust is listed as the sole owner of a critical parcel, while the other wives are left with empty promises. Public teary-eyed denials on the reunion episodes don't match property records. Legal analysts call it classic misdirection, Robyn playing 3 moves ahead. Tensions reportedly boiled over last Christmas. While cameras caught awkward smiles and gift exchanges, the real drama involved demands for financial transparency. Janelle reportedly insisted on seeing the books. Kody allegedly refused at Robyn's urging. Christine privately supported Janelle, texting her, "Don't let them gaslight you." Mary quietly consulted her attorney. The showdown culminated in a private confrontation in the kitchen. Janelle, no cameras, raw emotion. "I'm not going to be pushed out of what I helped build." Kody stormed off. Robyn went silent. Within days, Janelle formally requested an accounting of all family assets, igniting a legal battle now spilling into public view. TLC allegedly tried to spin it as typical plural family growing pains, but for Janelle, this was years of manipulation finally being challenged. Her recent interview is being called the smoking gun that forced Robyn's hand. Meanwhile, Christine and Mary step back, Christine supporting Janelle, Mary wary of further drama. Kody, according to court records, sides with Robyn on every key issue, doubling down on decisions that jeopardize family finances. But for the first time in years, Janelle isn't backing down. She's taking on Robyn in both public opinion and the legal system. Family group chats went nuclear after Janelle's revelation. Sources claim Robyn and Kody panicked, secrets spilling into the open. Leaked mediation summaries show Janelle's legal team demanding audits of every family account, property transaction, and trust. Robyn, allegedly with Kody's backing, refused, citing the need to protect her children. Janelle shot back, "If there's nothing to hide, there's nothing to fear." Robyn allegedly responded with tears, claiming persecution, while Janelle insisted, "Peace, without honesty, is just more control." Behind the scenes, alliances shifted. Mary found herself on the outside. Christine and Janelle coordinated, sharing notes and strategies to untangle hidden assets. Even the Brown kids were divided, torn between loyalty and truth. Shock came when Janelle's attorneys presented alleged evidence of a private emergency fund, only accessible by Robyn and Kody. Thousands of dollars in family money were reportedly spent on private schooling, legal consultations, and household security, without Janelle or Christine's knowledge. Meanwhile, TLC struggled to film the legal storm. Some scenes were scrapped to avoid influencing proceedings. But leaks online let fans piece together the puzzle. Missing money, off-book assets, and contradictory property moves. Social media erupted. Reddit, TikTok, blogs. Fans traced deeds and timelines, noting suspicious coincidences, like new property transfers the same week Robyn gave tearful TV interviews. Financial pressure didn't end with Coyote Pass. Legal sources claim thousands more were allegedly spent on personal accounts accessible only to Robyn and Kody. Janelle, supported by Christine, refused to back down. The rift became both public and legal. Emotionally, Christine returned as a confidant, offering her attorney notes and strategy to help Janelle navigate family LLCs and hidden assets. The women met privately, plotting steps far beyond cameras and scripted reunions. And that's where the drama stands today. Robyn, once the gentle peacemaker, is now painted as the mastermind. Janelle, backed by Christine, is exposing every alleged secret move. Kody remains aligned with Robyn, while Mary keeps her distance. Fans finally get to see what's been happening behind the polished TLC facade: manipulation, secret accounts, and a family at war. Will this be the end of the Brown family as we know it, or the dawn of a new era where the truth finally shines? One thing is clear, Robyn's peacekeeper act is unraveling, and Janelle isn't stopping until the full story comes out. And just when you think it can't get any messier, the family drama takes another explosive turn. According to insiders, the Brown family group chats, once filled with routine planning and updates, became a battlefield overnight. Messages flew fast and furious, accusations were thrown, and old grudges resurfaced. Janelle's decision to go public, combined with legal pressure, reportedly triggered panic for Robyn and Kody. Every secret, every whispered conversation that had been carefully guarded for years was suddenly exposed. Sources say Robyn went into full damage control mode, trying to control the narrative by playing the victim. Tears, emotional appeals, and deflections became her tools, but Janelle, now backed by Christine, refused to be silenced. She demanded accountability, transparency, and answers. Every request was met with excuses, claims of protecting the kids, or cries of persecution. But fans online were noticing the pattern. Reddit threads and TikTok breakdowns pieced together property deeds, trust filings, and financial moves. The consensus? Robyn's on-camera persona didn't match the court documents and off-screen realities. Then came the alleged revelation of Robyn and Kody's secret emergency fund, a private stash of family money, reportedly used without the knowledge or approval of Janelle or Christine. Thousands of dollars spent on legal fees, private schooling, and security for Robyn's household only added fuel to the fire. When Janelle confronted Robyn and Kody, the response was predictable: emotional deflection, tearful pleas, and claims of protecting the children. But as Janelle's attorney reminded everyone, if there's nothing to hide, there's nothing to fear. And just like that, the alliances began to fracture completely. Mary, who had wavered between siding with Robyn or staying neutral, pulled back entirely. Christine, ever the strategist, aligned fully with Janelle, offering her notes, legal contacts, and insider knowledge to help expose the full picture. The grown Brown children, too, were caught in the crossfire, some siding with their mother, some questioning the entire family dynamic. Even TLC cameras struggled to keep up. Allegedly, producers filmed scenes that had to be scrapped because the legal battle was too heated, too sensitive, and could jeopardize ongoing proceedings. But the leaks didn't stop. Fans were piecing together the real story, comparing what was aired with what legal documents revealed. It became clear, For years, Robyn and Kody had been quietly consolidating power, financial control, and property ownership while maintaining a carefully curated on-screen image. And now, with Janelle holding the legal reins and Christine's strategic guidance, the narrative is shifting. Robyn, once depicted as the misunderstood peacemaker, is now under the microscope. Court filings, mediation summaries, and financial audits are slowly dismantling the facade, showing a side of the Brown family the cameras never captured. So where does this leave the Brown family today? Kody appears unwaveringly loyal to Robyn, doubling down on their decisions despite growing legal scrutiny. Mary remains on the sidelines, wary of being pulled into more chaos. Janelle, for the first time in years, is not backing down. She's taking on Robyn legally, publicly, and emotionally. And Christine, once a reluctant participant, has stepped into the background as a silent strategist, helping to untangle decades of alleged manipulation and hidden assets. For fans, the story is mesmerizing. The polished image of the Brown family on TLC is being replaced with one of legal battles, secret funds, and whispered power plays. Social media has exploded with speculation, timelines, and receipts connecting Robyn's tearful on-camera persona with the off-camera control she allegedly wielded for years. The question now isn't just about property or money. It's about trust, loyalty, and the real dynamics of a family that has fascinated audiences for decades. Is this the final unraveling of Robyn's Peacekeeper act? Or is it just the opening act in a legal and emotional war that will redefine the Brown family forever? One thing is undeniable. The mask is off, the secrets are out, and the Brown family saga has entered a new era, one where the lines between love, loyalty, and manipulation are blurred beyond recognition. And if you thought you'd seen it all on TV, think again. The courtroom battles, leaked documents, and off-camera confrontations are only beginning to reveal the full story. Meanwhile, Kody, caught in the crossfire, was spiraling. According to multiple sources, his paranoia was growing by the day. He began accusing Janelle and Christine of ganging up on Robyn and, allegedly, tried to ban the other wives from discussing legal matters without his permission, a move that only deepened the mistrust. Mary, sensing the walls closing in, quietly reached out to her own legal advisor, hesitant to take sides for fear of being left out entirely. By now, the Brown family's legal chaos was impossible to hide. Court dockets were flooded with new filings almost weekly, asset freezes, emergency restraining orders, counterclaims. Mediation dates were repeatedly missed or rescheduled. Local reporters waited outside the courthouse, hoping for a glimpse of Robyn or Janelle. Robyn, ever the actress, arrived wearing sunglasses, refusing to speak to the press, while Kody, red-faced and visibly upset, slipped in through side doors. And here's where the heartbreak hits: the kids. According to statements allegedly given during mediation, some of the Brown children began asking why their savings accounts were suddenly empty or restricted. Older siblings, already skeptical of Kody's promises, started comparing notes, with one reportedly telling a friend, "Dad says Robyn needs protection." Legal experts say this is often the final straw in family asset battles. When the next generation gets involved, the pressure multiplies. For Robyn, it was a PR nightmare. For Janelle, it became a fight she couldn't back down from. "I'm fighting for my kids," she reportedly told her attorney, "not just for myself." The financial and emotional stress was taking its toll on everyone. Filming was suspended multiple times due to breakdowns. Janelle, normally the voice of reason, was seen leaving mediation in tears. Christine's frustration bubbled over. And even Mary, usually the quiet observer, allegedly screamed at Kody during a call. "You made your choice, now live with it." This was no ordinary family feud. Legal analysts describe it as a textbook case of asset concealment and emotional manipulation. Every move Robyn and Kody made was under scrutiny, not just by lawyers, but by former friends, fans, and potentially law enforcement if any proof of fraud emerged. But for the family, the situation was inescapable. Mediation had failed. Trust had vanished. The carefully constructed united front was gone. Hope for reconciliation was uncertain. Janelle believed it required honesty and real change. Robyn insisted it would happen only if attacks on her family ceased. Kody claimed it was tearing the family apart. But sometimes, to rebuild what's real, the broken pieces must first be exposed. Session 3 escalated dramatically. Heartbreak, betrayal, sleepless nights, and years of hidden resentment boiled to the surface. According to sources close to the family, this phase wasn't about money, property, or even Coyote Pass. It was about dignity, being heard, and the unraveling of a plural marriage that once promised forever but now resembled a carefully edited illusion. Everything changed the night Janelle reportedly broke down in tears after another failed mediation. Friends said she went home, sat on the edge of a bed, and whispered, "I can't believe I spent decades defending him, and this is what I get." For years, viewers saw Janelle as calm, practical, steady, a woman who didn't cry on camera or throw emotional grenades. But inside those mediation rooms, she was a mother, a partner, and a woman utterly betrayed. During one particularly tense session, Janelle confronted Robyn directly, asking point-blank why she pushed for decisions behind the scenes that harmed the rest of the family. Robyn reportedly froze, eyes wide, face flushed, and then broke into tears again. But this time, no one rushed to comfort her. Not the mediator, not the attorneys, not Christine, not Kody. That moment marked the emotional turning point. For years, Robyn's tears had softened arguments and redirected conversations, making her appear vulnerable and misunderstood. But now, they felt tactical, repetitive, even manipulative. A legal observer in the room noted, "Robyn, crying doesn't answer the question." Christine later reflected, "That was the moment everyone saw the real dynamic. Janelle wasn't being cruel. She was being honest. Someone had to be." Decades into a plural marriage, always trying to keep the peace, believing in the best of everyone, Janelle slowly realized the person she defended had allegedly used manipulation to secure power, not harmony. The emotional weight of that realization was crushing. Then came the bombshell: texts. Dozens of late-night messages between Robyn and Kody surfaced, shared among lawyers. The tone wasn't collaborative. It wasn't about the family. It was about control, persuasion, and protecting our interests, not the family. Christine reportedly paced, repeating, "I knew it. I knew it." For years, she had said Robyn and Kody acted like a monogamous couple in a plural marriage, and now she had proof. Janelle whispered to her attorney, "I thought I was part of the decision-making. Turns out I was just being informed." The room felt the weight of that revelation like a punch. "And the children?" one of Janelle's asked. "Mom, did Dad really choose them over us?" Janelle reportedly cried for hours, explaining that the family unity she had preached for decades was, in some ways, never real, was more than heartbreaking. It was generational betrayal. Meanwhile, Robyn repeated, "I feel targeted. I'm doing my best. No one understands how hard this is." But the real-life timeline told a different story. Robyn allegedly refused every compromise that didn't give her more control. She insisted on stability, protection for her children, and that Janelle and Christine were ganging up on her. Even Mary, long loyal to Robyn, began questioning everything, whispering, "Maybe we should have seen this sooner." Most viewers never saw the off-camera moments. Production leaks claim Robyn allegedly warned that someone would get hurt if property wasn't divided her way. Attorneys documented it. The mediator asked for clarification. She refused. Kody defended her. Janelle said, "We're all hurt already." Christine added, "That's not unity. That's a threat." The room existed in two realities: the polished, edited show version and the raw, unfiltered legal battlefield. Kody's behavior revealed even more cracks. He spent sessions glaring, pacing, grinding his teeth, avoiding eye contact. When asked direct financial questions, he snapped, "Why does everyone need to interrogate me?" Mediation is not interrogation, it's accountability, transparency, fairness. Qualities he seemed to abandon the moment they were demanded. Robyn, meanwhile, held tight to Kody's hand, rarely letting go. A subtle message: we are united, we are one, we are on the same side. In a plural marriage, that was less unity and more fortress. The emotional climax arrived when Janelle, exhausted, said simply, "I don't trust you anymore, Kody." Gasps filled the room. Years of pent-up truth exploded in one line. Kody reportedly looked stunned, as if the bubble Robyn built finally burst. Robyn tried to speak, to cry, but the mediator insisted she let Janelle finish. For the first time, Robyn wasn't the center. "I trusted this family with my children, my money, my life," Janelle continued, "and now I feel lied to, manipulated, and used." Christine teared up. Mary looked down. Even the attorneys went silent. Observers say this was the turning point. Once trust breaks in mediation, settlement becomes almost impossible. For Janelle, there was no going back. Session 3 ended with shattered hearts, realigned alliances, and years of hurt spilling into the open for the first time. Nobody pretended. Nobody smiled for the cameras. Nobody hid behind the facade of sisterhood. This was raw, unfiltered truth. And the next phase. The contrast between what the show presented and what the family endured in court would make everything messier. Court dates, property transfers, and witness statements told a story far more explosive than the living room drama ever could. Session 4 opened with the weight of the previous battles pressing down on everyone. On screen, viewers might see a polished story of sisterhood under pressure, Robyn tearful, Kody trying to mediate, a family navigating hard times. But behind closed doors, the reality was far harsher. Legal filings, witness statements, and property transfers painted a picture of calculated moves, emotional manipulation, and alliances shifting like quicksand. Robyn arrived at the courthouse with the same sunglasses and measured composure, but sources say her strategy had shifted. She no longer just sought sympathy. She was actively positioning herself to secure leverage, insisting on certain conditions and resisting any compromise that didn't protect her interests. Kody, meanwhile, was a storm contained behind a calm exterior. Insiders claim he spent hours pacing outside the mediation room, muttering, frustrated that his control was being questioned. Janelle, still reeling from the previous sessions, entered with quiet resolve. She had finally recognized what many had long suspected. The family dynamic she defended for decades was skewed, manipulated by tactics that ensured power remained in select hands. During one particularly tense exchange, she reportedly asked pointed questions about asset distribution, about communications behind the scenes, and about decisions that affected the children's security. Robyn's answers, carefully measured, often avoided accountability, and each dodge only tightened the tension. Christine, long frustrated by what she considered duplicity, began asserting herself more. Sources claim she highlighted inconsistencies in Robyn and Kody's statements, confronting them directly about late-night texts and private agreements that affected the whole family. Mary, the silent observer, was no longer silent. Privately, she reportedly confided to an attorney, "I've watched too long. I can't just stand by anymore," signaling the subtle but growing cracks in Robyn's support network. And the children? The emotional fallout continued to ripple. Older siblings reportedly asked lawyers and mediators why decisions seemed secretive or why their accounts were restricted. According to sources, one child asked, "Why do we have no say in this? Didn't we matter?" The question hung in the air, a devastating reminder that generational trust had been fractured. Perhaps the most explosive revelation of Session 4 involved property and financial maneuvering. Insiders claim that documents were produced showing unilateral actions taken by Robyn and Kody regarding Coyote Pass and other shared assets, decisions made without consulting the other wives. Mediation notes allegedly recorded Christine saying, "We aren't asking for control, we're asking for fairness," a line that resonated like a thunderclap in the room. By mid-session, tensions had escalated to near breaking points. Robyn reportedly threatened, subtly, that consequences would follow if her terms weren't met, a warning met with immediate pushback. Janelle, Christine, and Mary collectively confronted the couple, asserting that the pretense of unity had ended, that for the first time, real accountability was non-negotiable. Witnesses later described the room as electrified, every glance and gesture loaded with years of pent-up frustration and betrayal. Kody's attempts to maintain a united front with Robyn began to falter under scrutiny. Multiple sources say he would hold back responses, pace, and occasionally lash out verbally, while Robyn maintained a cool exterior, always holding onto her narrative of protection and stability for her children. But her narrative was increasingly challenged, leaving cracks in what had once appeared as an unshakable fortress. By the end of Session 4, the room had witnessed an almost complete realignment of power. Alliances between Janelle, Christine, and Mary were solidifying. Robyn and Kody, despite appearances, were more isolated than ever. The emotional strain on everyone, parents, children, and even legal observers, was palpable. Analysts suggest that by now, the mediation was less about compromise and more about survival, emotional survival, financial survival, and the survival of a family identity that had been shattered piece by piece. Behind the cameras, the narrative was no longer scripted or edited for sympathetic storytelling. The Brown family's plural marriage, long portrayed as a carefully curated show of unity, had revealed itself as something raw, chaotic, and fragile. Trust had been replaced by scrutiny, loyalty by caution, and love by careful calculation. And as the fourth session concluded, one thing became clear. The world they presented on screen and the reality they were fighting over in court were entirely different. The stakes were no longer just emotional, they were legal, financial, and generational. Every action, every word, every tear or glare had consequences that would ripple far beyond the courtroom walls. The next sessions promised even more drama, but now the players had changed. The facade was gone. Only raw truth remained, and the question on everyone's mind was simple. How far would each of them go to protect their own, and could anything truly be repaired after years of deception, betrayal, and hidden agendas? Robyn sits on the couch, dabbing at her tears, speaking softly about feeling targeted, about her vision for family unity, about the pain of being misunderstood. The cameras linger, the music swells, and viewers might be left believing she's the victim of the entire story. But the reality behind the scenes tells a much different tale. That same week, Coconino County Public Records show a new property deed transferring a key parcel of Coyote Pass directly into a trust controlled solely by Robyn and Kody. No Christine, no Janelle, no family LLC, just Robyn and Kody. And this part is where everything turns. The contradiction is stark. While Robyn claimed on camera she wanted everyone to feel secure, legal experts were flagging the asset transfers as unilateral moves. Janelle and Christine reportedly had no knowledge of the deed until it was finalized. Christine, when informed by a producer, was said to be shocked and heartbroken, realizing she'd been excluded from decisions affecting her children's future. Janelle, seeing this as proof, reportedly told her legal team, "If that's what family unity looks like, I want no part of it." Going back a few months, the timeline grows even murkier. During filming, Kody and Robyn preached togetherness on camera, smiling through dinners and staged family moments. Yet emails uncovered in legal discovery showed them working with attorneys and real estate advisors to secure majority control of the land, allegedly with the intent to isolate Christine and Janelle's interests. On TV, Kody appeared lost, claiming he just wanted peace. In reality, he was actively consolidating power and property with Robyn's encouragement. And this part is where everything turns. Family meetings became another glaring contradiction. Viewers saw Kody gather everyone, promising transparency. But court records show that on those same days, Kody and Robyn were filing emergency motions to restrict account access, freezing assets so only their signatures were valid. Janelle, blindsided, demanded a full accounting of assets and liabilities. That same week, while a healing episode aired, the legal fight was escalating into high-stakes financial warfare. Christine, according to leaks, once walked out of a family mediation shaking with anger, muttering, "This isn't about family. This is about control." She confided to a friend, "I spent years pretending we were equals, but now I see how quickly they cut us out when it matters most." Mary, caught in the middle, struggled with her own feelings of betrayal. On screen, she appeared sad but loyal. Off camera, she explored her legal options, fearing she might be left with nothing after decades of sacrifices. And this part is where everything turns. The shock didn't end with the wives. TLC producers reportedly clashed with network lawyers over how much of the legal battle could be shown. Explosive scenes were cut or reshot, leaving audiences with a sanitized version of events. But fans weren't fooled. Cross-referencing Instagram posts and court filings revealed major inconsistencies. How could Robyn claim she feared homelessness while moving into a secured property days later? Why were Christine and Janelle suddenly absent from gatherings? Reddit threads went viral, breaking down contradictions scene by scene and questioning the authenticity of the on-screen narrative. Kody's statements added to the confusion. On TV, he insisted, "I never wanted to exclude anyone." In court, documents showed he signed paperwork explicitly excluding Christine and Janelle from future land deals, a textbook example of narrative control versus real-world action. And this part is where everything turns. The children felt the impact too. Some older kids posted cryptic messages, hinting at disillusionment and emotional exhaustion. Legal filings show Janelle and Christine fighting not just for themselves but for their children's inheritance, submitting affidavits documenting broken promises and shifting trust documents. Robyn claimed her moves were to protect her children, yet records revealed unilateral decisions about school funding, housing, and health insurance, leaving the other wives scrambling to understand what had changed. A family therapy session captured for the show illustrates the split reality. While cameras recorded a narrative of unity, hours earlier, lawyers had been negotiating asset freezes. One crew member reportedly said it felt like filming two separate realities, the one for the cameras and the one everyone was actually living. And this part is where everything turns. Even while claiming it wasn't about money, legal emails show Kody and Robyn allegedly planning new business entities to shield family assets. Christine and Janelle, once hopeful about compromise, realized they were being played, filing motions to uncover every family asset, from show revenue to joint accounts. The contrast between the televised healing journey and the cold reality of asset protection became undeniable. Fans watched Kody deliver emotional speeches on camera about valuing every wife's contribution, while off-camera, he reportedly signed documents removing Janelle from ownership of lucrative ventures. Janelle reportedly told her attorney he wants the world to see him as devoted, but the paperwork tells the real story. And this part is where everything turns. Even editing couldn't completely mask the disconnect. Confessionals were stitched together, awkward silences left unexplained. Christine's departure was framed as a personal growth step, but it coincided precisely with finalized property splits and mediation breakdowns. Mary, after years of loyalty, learned via email, not family meeting, that her position was no longer secure. The audience glimpsed the larger truth. This was never about family adjustments, it was a war over money, land, and control. And this part is where everything turns. Session 4 closed with both timelines exposed. On one side, the TV family pretending to figure things out. On the other, a fractured group battling in court over every asset. The next session would reveal the closing arguments, the fallout, and challenge viewers to decide which version of the Brown family is real. The carefully crafted TV image promised resilience and unity. The legal records revealed fractured trust, empty promises, and financial consolidation. Janelle's stand, her refusal to be gaslit, silenced, or erased, became a rallying cry for truth and fairness. The children witnessed the unraveling, learning hard lessons about trust and integrity. By the final mediation, Janelle demanded clarity, accountability, and recognition of her rights. "I want what I'm owed. Nothing more, nothing less. I want the truth on record. I want my kids to see you don't accept injustice, even from people who claim to love you." Her courage left an impression on everyone in the room, even the mediator. Kody grew defensive. Robyn's once solid alliances were exposed. Mary began exploring her independence. The fight had shifted from legal wrangling to legacy. The children, now young adults, asked the hard questions, breaking the cycle of silence. And in the end, the real lesson emerged. It wasn't just about money or property. It was about confronting manipulation, reclaiming voice, and refusing to be invisible. And this part is where everything turns. Session 5, the final showdown, arrived with tension so thick it was almost tangible. The court was packed with lawyers, observers, and the silent witnesses of a family stretched beyond repair. Depositions were read aloud, financial records projected, and the emotional stakes couldn't have been higher. Every move, every word, every tear now had to stand under scrutiny, stripped of the filters that television had once imposed. And this part is where everything turns. Kody, once the central orchestrator of family decisions, found himself cornered. The cross-examination highlighted every asset transferred, every decision made without consultation, every promise broken. His defenses faltered under the weight of documentation. Robyn, the wife who had long commanded attention through vulnerability, now appeared exposed herself. The carefully crafted image of a protective, misunderstood spouse began to crumble as bank statements, deeds, and emails painted a different picture. Every claim of innocence, every plea for understanding, was met with evidence that contradicted her narrative. Janelle's moment arrived. Calm, composed, yet visibly shaking with emotion, she addressed the court. "I didn't come here to punish anyone. I came to protect my children, my rights, and my truth. For decades, I compromised so everyone else could feel secure. But I cannot let my life, my family, and my voice be erased." Those words hit harder than any legal argument. For once, the media, the legal observers, and even her family could not deny the raw courage behind them. Christine nodded beside her, tears glistening but her posture strong, a silent signal of solidarity. Mary, sitting quietly, allowed herself a small, relieved exhale, recognizing that she too could finally step out from the shadows. And this part is where everything turns. The children, growing into young adults under the relentless scrutiny of both cameras and courts, began to assert their own boundaries. Some refused to participate in the remaining filming, others demanded accountability for decisions made in their names. Their questions cut straight to the heart of the matter: who benefits when one voice silences all the others? What does fairness look like in a family like ours? The answers were no longer performative. They were dictated by law, reality, and truth. Kody and Robyn's unity, once a fortress, now looked like isolation. Robyn's tears no longer softened the room. They were met with skepticism, documentation, and unwavering testimony from Janelle and Christine. The legal system revealed what cameras had concealed: the consolidation of power, the exclusion of other voices, and the manipulation masters concern. The Browns' legacy, once carefully curated for television, was now an open book for all to see. The court ruling, when it came, wasn't just a distribution of assets. It was a verdict on transparency, agency, and accountability. Janelle and Christine regained rights to the properties and financial protections previously denied. Mary secured her share, finally freed from the invisible loyalties that had constrained her for decades. Kody and Robyn retained some control, but their authority was no longer absolute. The illusion of a united front was shattered. And this part is where everything turns. In the aftermath, the family began to rebuild, separately, cautiously, and with lessons burned deeply into their lives. Janelle's stand became a blueprint for asserting oneself without fear of retribution. Christine's resilience highlighted the importance of recognizing manipulation and refusing complicity. Mary's awakening reminded everyone that loyalty should never come at the cost of self-respect. Even Kody and Robyn, now facing public scrutiny and internal fractures, had to reckon with the consequences of their choices. For viewers, the story shifted from scripted drama to a real-life case study in betrayal, courage, and accountability. The Sundays dinners, backyard gatherings, and orchestrated holidays were replaced by hard truths, legal resolutions, and the knowledge that love alone cannot sustain a family when honesty is absent. And this part is where everything turns. Ultimately, the Brown family saga is a cautionary tale. It shows that silence enables manipulation, that appearances can deceive, and that courage often comes from the quietest, most underestimated voices. Janelle's final words, delivered in the courtroom and echoed in the hearts of those who witnessed them, crystallized the lesson. I did not choose this fight. I chose to stand for myself and my children. That is my truth, and nothing else can overwrite it. The cameras are gone. The courtrooms are empty. The Brown family, forever changed, moves forward with lives fractured yet enlightened, each member navigating the consequences of decades of secrecy and the high cost of plural love. And for anyone watching closely, the message is clear. Illusions may entertain, but truth, and the courage to demand it, is what endures. And this part is where everything turns. The cameras are gone. The courtrooms are empty. The Brown family, forever changed, moves forward with lives fractured yet enlightened, each member navigating the consequences of decades of secrecy and the high cost of plural love. And for anyone watching closely, the message is clear. Illusions may entertain, but truth, and the courage to demand it, is what endures. And this part is where everything turns. Now, it's your turn. What do you believe? Was Robyn the true mastermind all along, or a product of a system she couldn't control? Was Janelle's fight for fairness too late, or exactly what the family needed? Could any of this have ended differently, or was the Brown family always heading toward this collapse? Whose side would you have taken? Did you see the warning signs before the truth came out? And most importantly, what lessons do you take from this story about family, trust, and standing up for yourself when the people closest to you fail to do the right thing? The story isn't over. It continues in real life, and the choices, betrayals, and courage shown will echo for years. And this part is where everything turns.